Hello everyone, welcome back to Maximum Automation. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Excel sheet or CSV file as a data source option in your SpecFlow feature file. You can create an Excel sheet to keep your test data, and then you can use that sheet as a data source for the scenarios you are gonna create in your SpecFlow feature file. When you use Excel or CSV as a data source, and then based on the number of rows you have available in your data sheet, then that can be used to run your SpecFlow scenario multiple times based on the iterations or rows available in the sheet. You can create your test data into any of the formats, either CSV, XLS, or XLSX, based on your requirement. And then you can utilize that sheet in your feature file to get the data from the Excel sheet to your SpecFlow scenarios. Now let's see how you can do that. Here I have created one feature file, data source demo, where I have one scenario available as data source example. In this scenario, I have two keywords available. In the first one, we have to provide the fruit name. And then in another keyword, we have to provide the fruit color. So we have to pass these two values. And now I'll show you how you can pass these values from the data sheet. Now, to use the data sheet as a data source option, first of all, we need to install an SpecFlow.ExternalData plugin. So I'm going to open the NuGet Manager and will search for the plugin. This is the plugin which we need to use. So let me install this plugin. Once this is installed, then we can use this plugin to create a data source from the Excel sheet. To pass the test data from the Excel sheet to SpecFlow scenarios automatically. Now the plugin has been installed, so let me move to the feature file. Before using the data source option in the scenario, let's move to the Excel sheet. I have this Excel sheet available called as fruit details. And in that Excel, we have two columns. One is fruit name and the other one is fruit color. Fruit name column contains 4 different fruit names. And then the fruit color contains the color of those fruit. Now let's see how we can read this data using data source in a SpecFlow scenario. To read the data, we first need to create a data source. And for that, what we need to do, we need to add a tag on the top of the scenario name called as data source, followed by the colon, and then we need to provide the relative path of the file. Currently, the data sheet is on the same path where the feature file is available. So I can directly give the file name fruitdata.xlsx. In case it is available on any other path, let's say under this demo folder, then we need to add the folder name here. So here we have first provided the folder name and then the file name. Based on the location of your file, you have to provide the relative path of the file here. Now, in this scenario, we need to pass the fruit name here and the fruit color in this keyword. And to pass these values from the Excel sheet, we can add angular brackets, and inside those angular brackets, we have to provide the column name of the Excel sheet. Here, I want to pass the value from the column fruit name. And here, I'm going to pass the value from another column, that is fruit color. Now, when I'll run the execution, then these values will be picked from the fruitdata.xlsx and will be passed automatically to the scenarios keywords. Also, because we have 4 rows available in the Excel sheet, this scenario is gonna be iterated 4 times. Now let's try to run this scenario. You can see here it itself has created 4 instances of the same scenario. Now we have 4 iterations of the scenario. This is done by the plugin which we have just installed. And if I expand it a little bit, then you can see the values as well. The first iteration is going to run with data apple and red. The second iteration is going to run with banana yellow. Third one is with grapes and green. And fourth one is with orange and orange. Now let me run all the iterations. If you want, you can run any specific iterations as well. You can see all 4 iterations have been executed. And now if I open the test log, then you can see that the fruit name and fruit color is orange, because I have printed that information into the console in my step definition method. For the first one, we have passed the fruit name, so it printed the information on the logs that the fruit name is this. And then in the second keyword, we passed the fruit color, so it printed the color value into the console. And if you move back to the test log, then you can see the same information has been printed here as well. Similarly, if you see the logs for another iteration, then here also we can see the fruit name as grapes and the color is green. Then here it's apple and red. So this is how you can use your Excel sheet as a data source for your SpecFlow scenarios. Also, instead of an XLSX sheet, if you have a sheet available in XLS format or in CSV format, so that is also going to work for you. You can use any of these options based on your requirement. Now let's say that you have multiple sheets available in your Excel and your test data is available on the second or third sheet or any other sheet instead of the first or default sheet. By default, data source tag reads the data from the default sheet, that is sheet number 1. And if you want to read the information from another sheet, in that case, you have to specify the sheet name as well in the data source option. Now let me move this data into the second sheet. And I'll name this sheet as fruit data. And then let me add another data into the first sheet. I'll add 2 columns here. One is for book name and the other one is for book price. Then let's add few values here. Let me save the data and I'm going to build the test again. Now you can see this time it has created 2 data rows because by default it reads the first sheet from the Excel, which has only 2 rows. And you can see the data also coming from the first sheet. Now, because the data is coming from the first sheet and the column names which I have used in my scenario are available in another sheet. So if I run the test now, let's see what happens. This time it is not going to print fruit data from the sheet into the console because it won't find the column name in the first sheet. Here we can see the test has been executed, and if I go to the console, then you can see because no column was available with this name in the first sheet, so it read that information as a string and printed the same into the console. Now, when we have our data available in another sheet, in that case, there is an option to provide the name of the sheet as well. And for that, we can type a space here and then add another tag for dataset, followed by the column and the sheet name. So the sheet name is fruit data. Now, one thing to note down here is that we cannot provide a white space in the tag name. So if the sheet name is having any space in it, then we have to add the underscore instead of space in feature file to let the plugin know that we have space available in the datasheet name. So whenever the plugin finds that there is an underscore available in the sheet name, then it replaces the underscore with this space. Now let me build the project again. Here we can see it again created 4 iterations of the same scenario, because now it is reading the information from the second sheet, which is fruit underscore data. So this is how you can read data from any specific Excel sheet. Now, the another thing which I wanted to let you know, let's say if there is a mismatch between Excel column name and the name used in the scenarios, in that case, what you can do, for example, if I change the column name here as name and the color as color, and now if I'm going to run this test again, then this is not going to print the data from the Excel sheet, because the column name which we have used here is a name which is not available in the Excel sheet. Now, if I open the console, then you can see that the fruit name is name and the fruit color is color, because the variable name provided in the keyword did not match with the sheet column names. Now, when you have this kind of situation, then what you can do is you can add another tag for data field, which is used to map the column of Excel sheet with the name provided in these steps. And to map the column name, first you need to provide the step variable followed by equal and then the column name of the Excel sheet. To map another column, you can again add another data field tag and then provide the variable name followed by equal and the Excel column name. Now the fruit color value will be passed to the color variable and fruit name value will be passed to the name. Let me save this and let me run this test again. This time it should print the apple and the apple color into the console, because we have used a data field to map the variable name with the Excel sheet column name. And now if I open the console, then you can see this time it printed the value apple into the console and the color value as red. So this is how you can use your Excel sheet as a data source option in your feature file scenarios. I hope you like this video. Please put your comments in the comment box. Also, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.